Hi, I'm Maham and I crochet cute things. In this video, I'm going to show you how to make cute floral bookmarks. The first is a lily of the valley bookmark that looks like it's growing out of your book, and the second is a forget-me-not flower bouquet that's meant to mimic the look of pressed flowers. These bookmarks are perfect for using up scrap yarn, and you can make them in less than 2 hours. I used a 4mm hook with acrylic yarn that's linked on my Amazon storefront, but you can use any kind of DK or medium weight yarn with a 3, 3.5, 4, or even a 4.5mm hook size. You can also find the written pattern and other useful links in the video's description. Please open it for reference, but before you start crocheting, here's a word from this video's sponsor. If you're a crafter, a small business owner, someone who needs a link in bio site, or just someone who wants to create their dream website from scratch without any coding experience, I'm so excited to talk to you about today's sponsor, which is Universe. Universe is a drag and drop app where you can easily pick a personalized .com domain and hyper customize your site to match your creative vision. You can start with a blank canvas, get some help from their AI assistant Gus, which is a super cool feature that I recommend trying out, or you can pick from one of the many templates, including mine. You can then customize and make any type of site you want with Universe, from a simple link list to a full online shop, blog, or portfolio. Here are some sites that I love. This is such a pretty link page. This one's selling some cool digital crochet patterns. And this one's such a fun welcome site. I've been remaking my own Universe site, and I love the creative freedom I have with the drag and drop format. It's so easy to move things about and personalize to my liking. There are so many different customizations I can make. I can change the text, I can change the color, I can add shapes, I can add doodles. And apart from all that, the best part is that you can edit on your phone, iPad, or computer. I love using the app on my phone because I'm always doing some on-the-go editing, like changing one link from one YouTube video to another. But I'm also the kind of person who loves working on a much larger screen like my laptop, so I love that you can also edit on a computer as well. If you're in the US, the Universe Sell block will enable you to start selling your creations and start making money in minutes. You can also use the download block to sell digital items. Although the sell and download blocks are US only, the PayPal block can be used by everyone to accept payments. Universe is free, but you can make the jump to Pro to remove Universe branding, get a custom .com domain, unlock custom menu styles, and get the ability to add discount codes. With Universe Pro, you also get a lower flat 5% transaction fee and quicker payouts. You can use the first link in my YouTube description to get 25% off your first year of Universe Pro, or use the second link to try Universe for free. To make the little lily flower, we're going to start by making a magic ring. Hold your yarn facing towards you and then wrap it around your fingers, making sort of like an X shape. Use your ring finger to hold it in place. Insert your hook under, grab onto this yarn, pull it up, and twist. Now, using your ring finger to hold this yarn in place, you're going to chain one by grabbing the yarn and pulling it through like that. When you let go, you've got your magic ring. For round 1, we have to insert 5 single crochets inside this magic ring. So insert your hook, making sure that you're working over both of these ends. Pull up a loop, then yarn over and pull through 2, making your first single crochet. Get your stitch marker, and now you're going to insert it through your first single crochet so that you don't lose track of it. Now go ahead and do 4 more single crochets so that you have a total of 5 single crochets in round 1. That's 3, 4, and 5. Now you can pull your magic ring in tighter. To end round 1, we're going to insert our hook into that very first single crochet, the one that you marked. And we're going to slip stitch. So pull up a loop and slide it through all of the loops that are on your hook like that. And now we're done with round 1. To start round 2, chain 1. In round 2, you have to insert 2 single crochets into every stitch, starting from the one that we just worked into. So insert your hook back into that same stitch where you just slip stitched. Do your first single crochet of round 2. And mark it with a stitch marker. Now insert your hook back through that same stitch one more time. And now we're going to do the second single crochet. So now we have 2 single crochets in the same stitch. Now you're going to repeat this all the way around. So that's 1 single crochet, go back into that same stitch, and that's our second single crochet. You should have a total of 10 single crochets once you're done. 1, back into that same stitch, 2. So starting from the stitch that I marked, counting all the way to the very last stitch that I made, I have 10 single crochets. And here's where you need to be careful. This is not a stitch, this is the slip stitch. So it doesn't count towards your stitch count. And this tiny one over here is that chain 1 that you did to start a new round. So don't insert any stitches into your slip stitch or your chain 1. Now we're going to end round 2, so insert your hook into that marked stitch, slip stitch, and now we're done with round 2. To start the third round, you're going to chain 1, and in this round you just have to do 1 single crochet in every stitch. For round 3, 4, and 5, you're going to follow the same steps. So insert your hook back into that same stitch where you just slip stitched. That's your first single crochet of round 3. So mark it. You always have to mark the first single crochet of every round. Now go ahead and do 1 single crochet in every stitch all the way around, and in total you'll have 10 single crochets. Please make sure that you're only doing 1 single crochet in every stitch. I did my 10th single crochet here. Remember that this is your slip stitch and this is your chain 1, so don't insert anything into these 2 over here. Now we're going to end round 3. So insert your hook into the marked stitch, slip stitch to end the round, and chain 1 to start round 4. Repeat the same steps. Insert your hook into that same stitch, do 1 single crochet, and mark that with your marker. Now go ahead and do 1 single crochet into every stitch all the way around, and in total you'll have 10 single crochets at the end. I'm done with round 4. We're going to repeat the same steps for round 5. Insert your hook into the marked stitch, slip stitch to end the round, chain 1 to start a new round, insert your hook back into that same stitch, do your first single crochet of round 5, and place your marker through it so you don't lose track. Now go ahead and do 1 single crochet into every stitch again, and at the end you'll have 10 single crochets just like the previous rounds. After round 5, we're done with the body of the flower, and now we're going to start making the petals. For this, you have to repeat the same steps all the way around to make a total of 5 petals, and the petal is divided into 2 parts. Here are the steps that you're going to repeat. First, slip stitch into the marked stitch, and then in the same stitch you're going to insert 1 single crochet, and then once again in the same stitch you're going to yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a loop, and then yarn over, pull through all 3 loops to make a half double crochet. So that is the first part of your petal. If you want, you can place a stitch marker through the single crochet. Now we're going to make the second part of the petal in the next stitch. Yarn over, insert your hook into the next stitch, half double crochet, then insert 1 single crochet into the same stitch, and now you're going to slip stitch in the same stitch, and that is going to be your first petal. Now we're going to repeat these steps all the way around. So here's what you're going to do. In the same stitch over here, you're going to slip stitch, then insert 1 single crochet, then 1 half double crochet, and you're done with the first part of the petal. Now you're going to work into the next stitch. You're going to insert 1 half double crochet, 1 single crochet, and then a slip stitch. And there you've got 2 petals. Now go ahead and repeat this all the way around so that you'll have a total of 5 petals. This is what it'll look like when you're done. Now we're going to end the flower, so you can go ahead and chain 1. You can leave a long tail for sewing so you can hide it later. Cut the yarn and pull and tighten to secure. Now you can make 2 or you can make just 1. Now we're going to make the bottom leaf part of the flower. This is what it'll look like from the top, and this is what it'll look like from the sides. I think it adds just a little bit of an extra touch and makes your plain flower turn into something more detailed. To do this, once again, we're going to start by making a magic ring. So wrap the yarn around your fingers, insert your hook, twist, and now you're going to chain 1 and let go. For round 1, we're going to insert 4 single crochets. So insert your hook, that's 1 single crochet, 2, 3, and 4. Now you can pull your magic ring in just a little bit tighter. Now you're going to insert your hook into that very first single crochet that you did, and we're going to end the round with a slip stitch. Like that. It's going to be really, really tiny. Then you can pull your magic ring even tighter to close up the hole. Now we're going to be making 4 little leaves, and here are the steps you're going to repeat. First, you're going to chain 3. Then you're going to make this yarn a little bit looser, skip the first chain, and insert a slip stitch into the second chain from your hook, like that. Then you're going to insert your hook into that third chain, and single crochet. That's your first leaf. Now this is the stitch that you were just working into, so you're going to go into the next stitch, and you're going to slip stitch. That's your first leaf. Let's start the next one. Once again, you're going to repeat the same steps. You're going to chain 3, make this a little bit looser, skip the first chain, insert your hook into the second chain, and slip stitch, like that. Then insert your hook into that third or last chain, and single crochet. This is the stitch that you're working into, so you're going to go into the next stitch, and you're going to slip stitch to join. Repeat this 2 more times. I'm doing my very last leaf, so I'm just going to slip stitch into this stitch over here. And now you're done. To end your work, you can just chain 1 or 2. Then I'm going to leave a long tail for sewing and hiding it in later. Pull and tighten to end. It's going to make sort of like an incomplete star shape. Now that we're done with the flowers, we're going to make the stem. Now this stem is going to be a little bit tricky to understand, so please bear with me. First, we're going to make the long part of the stem that's going to go in between your book. Then we're going to make the stem divide into 2 branches that will be connected to your flowers. Then we're going to go all the way back down the stem to make tiny little leaves all around. So start by making a regular slip knot, like that. Now chain the length that you want for the stem. This is going to be the part that goes in between your book, so you can make it any length you want depending on the book that you're making this for. Here's the book that I'm using, and here's the length of chains that I did. It's about the same size as my book. Now you can chain 4 to 5 more. 1, 2, and this part is going to be the stem for the flower, the part that basically sticks out of your book. Now we're going to go all the way back down our chains to make it a little bit thicker and sturdier. Usually you would insert your hook into the chain like that, but we're going to insert it to the back side like this. And there's a middle ridge over here, so if you look carefully, take a moment to observe your chains. You're going to have 1, 2, 3 loops that one chain is made out of. So we're going to skip this first loop over here, and we're going to insert our hook into the second loop, this little ridge or bump in the middle, like that, and you're going to slip stitch through it. Now you're going to insert your hook through the middle loop of all of the chains, and you're going to slip stitch all the way down. I'm going to do 5 slip stitches, so that's 3, 4, 5. That's what you'll have, and this is going to be the very first stem of my little flower. Now I'm going to make the second stem for the other flower. So you're going to chain whatever length you want. 1, 2, 3, 4. I want this one to be a little bit longer than the other, so I'm going to do about 8 chains. See how that looks. And I recommend putting the bookmark or the chains inside your book so you can see what length you want. And then I want the second flower to be a little bit longer, maybe falling right over here. So then you can make the chains however big you want it to be depending on the look that you're going for. And then once again, you're going to turn your chain to the back side. You're going to skip the first loop and you're going to insert your hook through the second loop. And you're going to slip stitch all the way down. Slip stitch into all of these all the way down. Now go ahead and slip stitch into that single chain that you had going on. And now we're going to make some leaves while we're slip stitching all the way down the stem. Now this is completely random, so you can just pick wherever you want to add a leaf and repeat the steps that I'm going to show you on how to make a leaf. So to make a leaf, you're going to chain 3. Then you're going to skip the first chain and you're going to slip stitch into the second chain, just like normal. You don't have to work into the loop or anything. Then you're going to single crochet into the third chain. And then you're going to slip stitch back into the loop that's next to the one that you just worked into. And there you've got a tiny leaf like that. Now I'm also going to show you how to crochet another leaf where you can make it change directions, because if you continue doing it this way, then all of the leaves will just be facing this direction. So I'm just going to go a little bit more down my stem, slip stitching into every loop, and then I'm going to show you how to do leaf in a different direction. I did a few more slip stitches. Now once again, you're going to chain 3 to make another leaf, skip the first chain, slip stitch into the second, and then single crochet into the third or the last one. Now instead of slip stitching through like that, you're going to change directions. So your chain will be turned this way. You're going to turn it around twice like that until you get the back bump crossed over, and then you're going to insert your hook through it. It's going to be really tricky because you're barely going to be able to see it. And then you're going to slip stitch. So because you twisted the tail around, or because you twisted this little chain around, the leaf is now facing the other direction. I'm going to show you one more time. So now I'm just going to continue slip stitching all the way down the stem like normal until I need to make another leaf, and then I'm going to repeat the same steps so that I can twist the leaf to the other direction. Alright, time to make another leaf. So I'm going to chain 3, skip, slip stitch, single crochet into that last chain. And now time for the tricky part. My chain is turned this way, so I'm going to twist it to the other side like that until the ridge comes back up again. Then I'm going to insert my hook through the ridge, the middle loop, and then I'm going to slip stitch like that. And now my leaf is facing the other way, if that makes sense. Now I'm just going to repeat this. So you're going to slip stitch all the way down once again until you need to make another leaf, or you don't need to make any leaves. You can just slip stitch all the way down the stem. It's completely up to you because the next part is completely up to customization and there's no specific pattern to follow for this part. Once you're done, this is what you'll have, and here's how to end your work. I just like to chain 1. I'm going to leave a long tail so that I can use a plastic needle or any needle to weave this in and hide it. Now I'm just going to tie a knot with the bottom ends. Now we're going to join all of the pieces together. I started by sewing the leaves onto the bottom of the flower, and now with that same needle, with the same yarn that I have, I'm just going to put it through the stem over here, and then I'm going to push my needle back through the center of the flower and bring it out, and that way the stem will be attached to the bottom of the flower as well. Now I'm going to show you how to make a forget-me-not flower. These are usually blue and yellow, but I'm going to make mine in white and pink, or maybe mix and match the colors, which would make such a fun bouquet if you try that. So whatever 2 colors you're using, keep them at hand because we're going to directly switch to them. You're going to start by making a magic ring, so hold your yarn facing towards you and wrap it around your fingers, making sort of like an X shape. Then use your ring finger to hold it in place. Insert your hook under, pull up a loop, and then you're going to use your ring finger to hold this in place while you grab the yarn and chain 1. When you let it go, you're going to have a magic ring. For the very center of the flower, we're going to insert 5 single crochets into the magic ring. So insert your hook, making sure you're working over both of these ends, pull up a loop, and then yarn over and pull through 2. That's our first single crochet. Go ahead and repeat this 4 more times to make a total of 5 single crochets in the magic ring. That's 3, 4, and 5. Now we're going to pull the magic ring in tighter, and we're going to end round 1. Now you're going to insert your hook into that very first single crochet that you made. And now you're going to get the color that you want to use for the petals. You're going to make a little loop with it like this, and you're going to slide that color through. And you're going to slide it through the other loop on your hook like that. Now tighten this, the yarn that you were using with before, make sure it's tight. Now start working with the yarn that you just attached. You're going to go ahead and chain 3. Now we're starting the petals. So these are the steps you're going to repeat for each of the petal. First, you're going to chain 3, and we're going to be working into that same stitch. So yarn over and insert 2 double crochets into that same stitch. As you're working, try to work over the end that you left. So I'm going to try and work over this white yarn and the pink yarn. Pull up a loop and then yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2 to make your first double crochet. Yarn over, insert your hook back into that same stitch, and do another double crochet. Now you're going to chain 3 again, insert your hook back into that same stitch, and slip stitch to end the petal. And that is going to be your very first petal. Now you have to repeat this 5 times. I'm just going to cut this now because I don't need it. So here are the steps that you're going to repeat for the petals once again. First, you're going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. Now you're going to insert 2 double crochets into the next stitch. This petal is already done, so now we're going to be working into the next stitch. Insert your hook into that stitch, and that is going to be your first double crochet. And then insert another double crochet into that same stitch. Now you're going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. Insert your hook back into that same stitch and slip stitch to end. And there you've got your second petal. Now go ahead and repeat this until you have a total of 5 petals. Also, you can pull your magic ring in tighter to close up the hole that's in the middle. This is what it'll look like once you finish your 5 petals, and here's how to end your work. I just slip stitched into this corner stitch over here, and now I'm going to chain 1. I'm going to leave a long tail for sewing later so I can hide it. And I'm going to pull, tighten, and there you're done with the flowers. Now I'm going to show you how to make a stem like this. You can make it without leaves or you can make it with a leaf. It's very open to customization. There's no specific pattern to follow, so you can make these as long as you want. I'm going to start by making a regular slip knot, just like how we start all of our crochet projects, like normal. And then you're just going to chain the length that you want for the stem. Now you have to make it a little bit longer than the length you actually want, because once we do the second row to make it thicker, it does shrink a little bit. So just do 4 or 5 extra chains at the end. I did 25 chains for this one, and then I did 21 chains for this, and I'm gonna do 19 chains for this one. So they're all in different heights so that the flowers can just go a little bit up and down like that. Once you're done, here's how to start the second row. This is the front of your chains. You're gonna turn your work to the back over here. Now, take a moment to look at your chains. You've got 3 loops, so that's 1, 2, and 3. And these 3 loops make up 1 chain. We're going to be inserting our hook into this middle loop over here. So skip the first loop, and you're going to insert your hook through the middle loop. Like that, and then you're going to slip stitch. Now you're just going to go into every middle loop and you're going to slip stitch all the way down this little stem or chain. So look, 1, 2, 3, insert your hook into the middle loop and slip stitch. Now if you want to make a leaf, here's how you're going to do it. You're going to chain 5, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then you're going to skip the first chain and you're going to insert a slip stitch into the second chain from your hook. So make this a little bit looser. Insert your hook into the second chain, and that's going to be your slip stitch. Then in the next chain, you're going to do a single crochet. And then in the next chain, you're going to do a half double crochet. So yarn over and insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through all 3 loops on your hook. Then in the last chain, you're going to do a single crochet. And now you're going to go back and insert your hook into the loop of the next chain and single crochet to join the leaf to your stem. And there you've got a cute little mini leaf. Now go ahead and continue slip stitching until the end of your chain. Once you're done, to end your work, just chain 1 and then leave a long tail for sewing because you're going to use this tail to sew the stem onto the back of your flower. Cut, pull, and tighten, and there you're done with the stem. Now go ahead and get your needle, attach your needle to the long tail that you left. You can use any needle, it can be plastic, it can be metal, it just needs to be big enough so that your yarn can fit through the hole. Once you've attached your needle with a knot, go ahead and sew it onto the back of your flower. So I'm going to try and insert my needle through a loop in the stitch like this. And pull. Then I'm going to go back through like that. And then find another loop to go through. And pull. This is going to attach the flower onto the stem like that. And now I'm just going to fasten off by tying a knot. I'm going to hide all of the ends by weaving them in and then cutting them, and that's how you can attach the flower onto the stem.